Hey all, here are OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the Haylou T16. These are TWS wireless buds, which are the flagship from this company that is affiliated with Xiaomi, one of the most popular consumer tech companies from China. And last year, Haylou's T1 and T2 wireless buds were very popular, in fact almost competing with the Redmi AirDots, which were also launched in around the same time. So now they're back with the T16, which represents the flagship for them, but it's still very affordable compared to other buds on the market from other companies. So this one here sells for under 60 bucks, but what you're getting is a model that has active noise cancellation. It also offers Qi wireless charging for the battery case, so you can pop it onto a wireless charging mat to quickly top it up, which is pretty neat. And there's even a wearing detection or an IR sensor on here, just like Apple's AirPods, which makes them automatically pause the music when they are removed. And finally, just like the aforementioned previous generation Haylou buds, they also have a low latency gaming mode. These are IPX5 rated for water resistance, which means that you can get some water splashed on them, you can be raining outside, and they should still survive. With the casing, they will get a combined total of 30 hours on a full charge, and they will automatically connect when the battery case is opened, so a faster process. And finally, these also do have a companion application that Haylou has designed so that you can control different aspects of the buds, such as what mode you want them to be in. Transparency mode, if you're not familiar, will amplify the sound around you. You can think of it as a reverse ANC, so you can have a conversation without removing the buds. And in between ANC as well as ambient mode, there's also something called an outdoor mode, which is not a function that I have seen on other buds before. This is dedicated for when there's windy weather outside, and it will try and repress the wind noises and just focus on your music. And the buds themselves will last for 6 hours when removed from the case in regular mode, around 4.5 hours if you have ANC turned on. As usual, the design is very clean and simple, very minimalistic, similar to the aforementioned Redmi AirDots and Haylou's other TWS buds from years past. The casing here is wrapped in a protective film. Underneath we have the quick user guide, as well as the USB Type-C charging cable, as well as some spare silicone tips. As far as the design of the battery case is concerned, it's made out of this polycarbonate plastic, but doesn't feel cheap or light. Feels quite good in terms of the weight, and we have just the Type-C port on the back, and that is it. So very clean. Here's a quick size comparison with the aforementioned Redmi AirDots, Apple's AirPods. You can see they're also a touch larger, but not too far off. Still is easy enough to put this case into a pocket for transportation. Now, as aforementioned, these do offer Qi wireless charging, so if you don't want to use the Type-C port, you can also pop it onto a Qi charging mat, and popping on there, you can see the battery here will instantly begin to charge up. These will begin to pair once you open up the battery lid, so the connection process is very quick using Bluetooth 5.0. It is worth mentioning though, as far as audio codecs are supported, it offers SBC and AAC, but it isn't using a Qualcomm chip, which means it doesn't support Qualcomm's aptX codec, for instance. However, because of Haylou's proprietary low latency mode, you still get a very fast and seamless connection. Just like before, if you're doing things like gaming, the process between the audio and the video feed is almost instantaneous, as low as wireless buds can get these days. The buds themselves are once again magnetic, so they won't fall out even if you give it a shake, and they can be easily popped off. Taking a closer look at the buds themselves, they also have a pretty seamless one-piece design. The top here is touch sensitive, and it felt pretty responsive when I was trying them out earlier, doing things like, again, changing between the different modes by double tapping if you want to go through the audio transparency, outdoor ANC modes, and also playing and pausing your music by tapping once, skipping tracks, and on the very top here we do have one of the microphones. There's a second mic on the back, and overall a very ergonomic tilt as you're wearing these. You can see by the angling here, they felt very snug when I was trying them out. Didn't feel loose at all thanks to these ergonomic curves, and so I was able to kind of shake my head around and they still stayed in place despite the lack of a larger wing, for example. So felt quite comfortable. And there's also the aforementioned IR or proximity sensor for knowing if you're wearing these or not. You can see it glow there on camera. Now, one thing I will say though is by default the controls and commands don't support volume, so you can't raise it higher or lower just right out of the box. However, like I mentioned, there is a companion application that they give you which allows you to bring back that function if you want to replace it with something else. Here they are next to Apple's AirPods. You can see they will be a little bit thicker since there are more sensors baked in, but overall they're still very lightweight thanks to that polycarbonate build. Here they are next to the aforementioned Redmi AirDots, also a touch thicker but not too far off. Now here's the aforementioned Haylou app, and under devices you're able to see the Haylou T16 pop up, and as aforementioned the connection process is really quick. You can just open up the lid of the battery door, and pretty much once Bluetooth is turned on you can see it will instantly connect. There's a lot of functions here. In fact, it even tells you the last location of where the buds were worn using the geotagging of your phone, in case you lost them and want to trace back where you were at when you last were wearing these, which is pretty neat. And as far as the left and right sides, as aforementioned, you can customize the controls by doing things like the tapping once can be changed to do something like volume. And finally, we can also change the different modes directly, albeit if they had an EQ adjustment, that would be even better, but for what it is, I think it's a nice touch. Moving into performance and audio quality, I have to say I am super impressed with the Haylou T16s. As usual with most Haylou buds I've tried, I think it definitely punches above its weight class. Sound quality is just impressively clean, so you won't hear any hints of static, hissing, or humming in the background, and the tuning of the drivers are just so dynamic and satisfying. I wouldn't say that bass is overpowering, but it's certainly present, and whenever you're listening to a drum beat or a lower frequency sound, when the bass drops, everything is just kind of slightly rumbles and feels great, but at the same time it doesn't feel like it's overpowering the mids and the trebles. In particular, the trebles I was the most impressed at, because it doesn't feel tinny or compressed at all, which you would expect from smaller buds in general. But on these, you still get plenty of detail, almost a touch open sounding, which is quite incredible for, again, something at this price range and for something so small and compact. So it really does make the music come alive. For something for, again, this price range of under 60 bucks, they have to be one of the best sounding pair of TWS buds I think I've tried in a long time. As far as the ANC is concerned, it does make a difference when you have it on, so lower frequency sounds like the engine of a car or a fan noise of a computer do get repressed pretty nicely, although higher frequency sounds will still struggle to be cancelled out, just like most ANC buds. They're not going to rival industry leaders like the Bose or Sony in that regard, but it's just a fraction of the price, and overall I think work well enough. The transparency mode also is effective in terms of being loud enough to still hear around you. The outdoor mode, the wind noises do get slightly reduced if you are, say, biking or cycling outdoors and you want to cancel that out a little bit. It's a touch more subtle compared to the real ANC or the transparency modes, but it's a nice, again, thoughtful extra feature. I didn't find the left or right sides to ever get out of sync with each other, and playing and pausing the music, watching a video, everything was still pretty much in sync when using YouTube and Netflix. So as a whole, I think these are one of the most well-balanced as well as fully featured pair of TWS buds that you'll find at this price range of under 60 bucks. Pretty much everything that you would want, including ANC, including audio transparency, excellent sound quality, great controls, a very nice overall fit and finish, as well as a companion app can all be found here. So once again, Haylou is really pushing the boundaries of value for their wireless TWS products. You can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the pretty impressive Haylou T16.